Hey, I'm John with Lullwater, and that just happened.
Hey guys, what's going on? It is Front Row Joe with That Just Happened, hanging out here with this guy over here, John from Lullwater. John, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a long couple 12-hour drives, but it's been fun. It's been good.
Yeah, we were talking on the walk up here that you're coming from, you did your first show in Houston, then New Orleans, and now way over here in Florida. So a lot of miles under you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been fun though. It's been we did I think 10 days leading up to Sevendust, and then got kind of thrown into the circus for the first 3 shows. So it's been a change of pace, but it's been energetic. It's been exciting.
Yeah. Well, let's get right into the new stuff. New album, Voodoo, dropping February 22nd. That's got to be really cool, is to be on tour when the album actually drops. What's the date where you'll be when that drops?
I know we're going to be in cold weather. That's all I know right now. I'll have to ask or look at my phone, but I think we're going to be up around Chicago, maybe somewhere there, Michigan, in the dead of winter. So yeah, looking forward to those 10-degree nights. But we're excited. Yeah, it's been on ice for like a year. Voodoo's been just kind of on the shelf since last year, and it took us a while to get our team together and make sure that we put it out in the right hands and with people we trust, for sure.
And you got again, coming out February 22nd. Like your sophomore release, self-titled Lullwater, this one shares the same type factor in that you guys picked up, moved shop, and completely out of your home base comfort zone and set up shop somewhere else to record this. What is that? What's that chemistry that you're chasing to do that for total immersion in a new spot?
Well, for us, we always like to get out of our comfort zone, and that's one thing where we did self-titled in Seattle, and then we did Revival in Texas, and now we're doing New Orleans for Voodoo. It makes us focus as a band, and it takes us away from all the comforts of home and all those things that remind us of home, and then put us in a completely different environment. And I think the creative process we're able to explore a lot more in a different environment, and we like doing it within like a solid month or some. But we're always working. We're doing 10-hour days, 12-hour days. But yeah, like in Voodoo, you're going to be able to hear New Orleans coming out through that record, and you hear the strings and the horns and keys and the additional musicians we used on that record, because it's New Orleans, and we lived in the French Quarter for a month, so you're going to get that Cajun kind of that New Orleans vibe in the record, for sure.
Yeah, that's really cool, and that's a great way to do it. What was the deciding factor for New Orleans? Why that spot on the map? Well,
our producer engineer Jacob Herman from Sweden worked with Rick, who's Afghan Wigs and owns a studio, and he'd been doing a lot of projects down there. And him and Justin Davis said, you know what, let's go to New Orleans. I just got back from New Orleans. It's a great place to do it. It was in the winter, and he sold us on it, and we kind of just followed the leader on that one.
Gotcha. So is this a formula that you guys are going to look to replicate for future efforts?
What we have an acoustic record done that we did in Athens, and I think we're going to keep doing the big rock records somewhere else. It's one thing for us to go in and do an acoustic record and kind of bring in the Athens vibe into an acoustic record, but I don't see us doing a record, a big rock record in our hometown. We like getting out and exploring and gaining all the the different energies from different towns and put it into a record.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's to meld that into your own sound. What then, if that is going to be your modus operandi, course, you guys are professional, been doing this for a long time, but how do you, especially being right in the French Quarter, how do you block out those distractions and focus on the task at hand?
You don't. Like, you can't. It was a little bit like Chinese water torture, where it just drips on your head. You know, after 4 days, most people go to New Orleans and they drink themselves to death, and then they go home. And we just live there, you know. So in the French Quarter, it never sleeps, and you never have rest. And I think that's why Voodoo is so not chaotic, because it's a more produced record than we've ever done, but it is very much more of a anxiety, you know, angst kind of record, because we were all exhausted, working 12-hour days, hungover most of the time, and also just putting all of that into the record. So to answer the question, it's tough. It was very tough. We had to learn to, okay, you know, they don't close down there. So if it's 6 a.m. and everybody is hanging out and you have to be at the studio at 9:30, like, you can't do it for a month, you know. So we kept ourselves in check and kind of learned to live in harmony with the French Quarter.
Gotcha. Well, did you have any favorite hangout spots there?
Toulouse. We actually took Song to our hangout spot, Toulouse Bar. We hung out at the Dungeon a lot. We hung out at the Abbey a lot in Frenchman and Decatur, and we just kind of made our rounds. Like, it'd be like, well, you guys want wings tonight at 3 a.m.? Let's go here, you know. But yeah, we had our little bars, and we kind of made it our own. And we hung out with the locals, and they told us where not to go and where to go, and yeah, it was cool.
Well, Dungeon is a cool place for sure.
It's weird.
It is, yeah. That's why it's so cool. So if you had to choose, or maybe you even have a spot that you're kind of looking at, do you have the next recording spot in mind?
You know, I don't know. I know that we love Seattle. Like, the city just is amazing, and that was kind of thrown around a little bit. And I think we've just been so focused on this record and making sure it gets out and promoting it and all those good things that doing Lullwater 4 is kind of like daunting and a little stressful and a little like, all right, let's cross that bridge when we get there. But for us, Seattle was always that's like the beacon for this band, for me especially, where recording music and being in the city where all of my like idols growing up and still to this day recorded music and created that scene. It's very much present in Seattle today. You can go and, you know, Fremont and Ballard and pockets where you feel the essence of that late 80s, early 90s Seattle scene.
Yeah. We talked about, let's bring it back to the tour. We talked a little bit about this tour and how stacked it is. You're on a tour with Sevendust, Tremonti, and other guys like Kane Hill and Kira. Doors are opening at 5 on a weekday, so you know that there's going to be a lot of music being played today. These types of tour packages, since radio play is not like it was, is this now the new venue to introduce new music to maybe a different audience, like a Sevendust audience that's into new metal that may not know your flavor and know who Lullwater is?
I think so. We're reaching a different crowd and a bigger crowd, and it is crazy since the package is 5 bands to where we're throw and go, you know, and we're low man on the totem pole on this tour. So it's like, all right, guys, this is what you got, this is what you do, and it gets crazy. You know, this is I think, not stressful, but it's the most energetic tour. I'll go with that, to where it's very formatted, and you get up there, you do your thing, get off, and and we're okay with that. We've been on tours and tour for a long time, but there is an energy and a crazy momentum that happens with that many bands, to where it's almost like a little mini rolling festival, you know. But yeah, I do think this tour is gaining new fans, and a lot of people that come up to the merch booth and after the shows, since we're not in the same genre vein, we're not as heavy as Tremonti and Sevendust, but I think people are really coming up and being like, never heard of you guys, this is cool, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah. That's got to be a good feeling for sure.
Yeah, it's solid.
So again, you're just looking forward to the release of the new album Voodoo coming out, and you're gonna tour on that for a little bit. You said first things first, not even looking towards the next project, just gonna get that done. So what's in the next, say, 6 months for Lullwater then?
I think for the next probably 9 to 10 months, it's going to be hitting the road and touring the record and touring the record and touring the record. And that's kind of what we want to do. And be on the road as much as possible until we just kind of fall apart, I think. But yeah, I think that's what's happening. And we got a great team with Tom and Dennis and Song and everybody that's really working hard to get the record in, you know, radio markets and promo, and they're doing a great job with it. And they're handling some of the things that we're not really familiar with, and it's good. I mean, I think there's going to be some radio. I think there's going to be some, you know, there's going to be promotion and all that good stuff. But for us as a band, where we thrive and where we enjoy being is on tour, and that's the fun part. That's the work for us. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. We talked about a little bit about it before the camera started rolling, but your That Just Happened moment. You've been around for a little while and seen, you know, been all over. What is your That Just Happened moment?
The That Just Happened moment would be on. We toured with Candlebox for about 8 weeks collectively, but there was a tour where Kevin Martin and Dave Cruzen, which Dave Cruzen was drummer of Pearl Jam, and Kevin Martin's just fucking Candlebox lead singer, like, you know, here. And we got to play with them on stage. They came up and we did a cover of Release by Pearl Jam, which I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan, and Dave Cruzen, I think it was in Houston actually at Scout Bar, where he heard it in the green room. He's like, I know that song. And everybody's like, yeah, you were on that song. You know, you were on that song. And for about 8 or 9 shows during that song, Cruzen would get up behind the kit, and, you know, Joe's in front of him, and him and Joe would play Release together in unison. And there were moments where, you know, I would just choke up and like freak out a little bit and go, you know, my 12-year-old self right now would be just shitting himself. You know what I mean? And the Wayne's World moment, like, I'm not worthy, that happened, and that's the moment that happened like 9 times, and it was definitely surreal.
Mm-hmm. If there's anything like a That Just Happened moment that can beat it, it's a That Just Happened moment that happens 9 times. So you kind of got your unfair share. That's really cool. Certainly appreciate your time and for sharing that with us, guys. Again, this is Front Row Joe, and That Just Happened, Lullwater.